Since David and myself had come kind of from a production background, we were very familiar with Embertone and native instruments and the amazing tools that are available for artists, for composers, and we just thought, well, why not have the best violinists at your fingertips, literally at your fingertips. You play on a MIDI controller at your fingertips.
I've heard of many violinists, but he took his instrument out, like he arrived and everyone in the room got quiet, and he took his instrument out and he started playing, and it was the most projected violin that I've ever heard. But what took me by surprise even more was that he brought a level of artistry to these sessions that I just could never have imagined.
There are people who are very fortunate to be able to go to Avery Fisher Hall or to go to Carnegie Hall and listen to great artists in a great hall like that. But most people don't have that ability because they don't live in a place that actually has a beautiful hall. And technology, though, is the way that hopefully we can reach a lot of these people who would appreciate this.
I've always been interested in technology. 12 years old, I got my first computer, the Apple II Plus computer in 1980. And even then they had rudimentary games you could play to create music, for instance. I remember the big deal at that time on the Apple II Plus, there was one program where to get two pitches sounding at the same time, they did very fast alternating between the two notes because they couldn't actually play two at the same time. I thought that was so cool. I've come a long way since then, but I've always loved technology, computers, games, and of course music. So to combine technology and music is sort of my dream, I guess, or it satisfies more than one aspect of my personality.
The tools that we make are geared towards composers, whether it be video games, films, performing musicians, DJs, and electronic artists can perform with these instruments just by loading it up and playing with their keyboard.
You know, we've had a lot of offers from many instrument manufacturers about saying, would Joshua be interested in putting his name on our instrument? And that's a tough thing for him because he won't, these violins are pretty good for $200, but they're nothing like what he's used to, and he wants people to be able to experience the best.
And I knew that we wanted to get something beyond what had been done before, and that for me as well, when I was asked to do it, I said, I want to do this, but I don't want to do just kind of whatever other people have done, so I'll do it if we can find a way to make it better and more possibilities than ever before.
As accomplished as Joshua Bell is, this is a new frontier for him. He's always been fascinated by technology, we all have, but creating his own virtual instrument, that's never been done.
Why not go for the exact sound we want and get the exact person in here with that exact instrument, and that's what really excites us about this.
Now my violin, of course, is the old school Stradivarius violin made in 1713. When I heard about this possibility of maybe creating this kind of virtual instrument, but using my Stradivarius as a sort of basic sound, and then seeing what the possibilities were, it's just, I jumped at the chance.
What an incredible opportunity it was to be in this famous studio where so many legendary artists have laid down records.
Avatar, formerly known as Power Station, is legendary in this city and in the country. We've been using this room, Avatar A, for Josh because, as you heard today, he has a very big, powerful sound that he's worked on and refined to fill concert halls. The mandate was that part of the sound needed to be very close up, completely limiting the room so that it can be used in any manner after the fact. From the reflections and the very dense set of reflections, you get a certain amount of power in the sound and a much more impressive sound than a dead room. But because the decay time, the sustain of the room is very short, then you have the ability to use the sound from this room with other virtual environments attached to it. So you can dial up different reverberations and different acoustic spaces and attach it to this direct sound.
What's great about when we release an instrument like this is you get to see what kind of creative things are done with these instruments, and with the Joshua Bell instrument specifically. It's going to be incredibly flexible and incredibly expressive.
Certainly, I mean, technology and music are very intertwined these days, with recordings, of course. My first recordings in the 80s actually released a couple of albums on LP before the CDs came out. I cringe when I hear synthesized music, synthesized violin, even worse than, there's some things work better than others. What excited me about this technology is that finally I think we're starting to get where we can it gets sampled in this case, which is not really synthesized anymore, but it's music to sound so real. And I've been waiting for this because I've had to endure as a violinist, hearing in movies and video games and others, and where it's done poorly. And so I'm excited about this, that I think it's going to really raise the bar.